Hello, my name is Brian Kinney and I'm an ERP advisor, and welcome to our webinar, How an ERP Saves Your Business Time and Money. Now today I'm going to shed some light on the world of ERPs and also answer how ERPs help your business save time and money. Now before we get too deep into answering that question, let's start with the basics. What is an ERP? Well, an ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Planning, and is a business management solution that allows companies to function in one complete software system. Now that definition is great if you know what an ERP is and are familiar with the term. But if ERP is still new to your ears, this is still kind of vague, isn't it? Well, to elaborate on this, let's take an example of Jeff, who owns a construction company, and we'll look at his processes both outside the world of software and inside the world of software without an ERP. Now Jeff's company does a lot of different work on a daily basis, both inside and outside the world of construction, as you can imagine. From working on projects to general accounting, Jeff's company has different divisions, and all their data needs a home. Now each division in Jeff's company is in charge of its own software and data, but this process of doing things is clumsy for Jeff and his team. Let's explore why this is by looking at Jeff's company and their processes a little further. So as we discussed before, Jeff's team uses multiple systems to complete their daily work as needed. Each division manager is in charge of their own system, as well as managing and sharing the data with other employees from those individual systems. Let's walk through each division and explore how they operate in the world of software outside of an ERP. So Jeff's company as a whole uses Microsoft Outlook as their primary email, and the company uses Outlook to communicate to each other. Each team will need to export reports from their individual systems in order to either print and share with employees, or they can export and email them using their email client, Microsoft Outlook. Now in terms of each individual division, let's start from the top and work our way down, starting with the sales team. Now the sales team uses Salesforce to build the proposals and orders, and to also manage their opportunities. They also use SurveyMonkey to communicate with customers and to send surveys to collect feedback on their experiences. Their accountant uses QuickBooks to create invoices, manage finances, and also pay bills. Their project manager uses Basecamp, and with Basecamp, they can manage projects and tasks and really oversee and review all the work that needs to be done with those projects. Jeff's dedicated labor force also uses Basecamp to communicate with their project manager and to complete the work that needs to be done for each of the projects. And finally, Jeff himself uses ADP to manage and pay all of his employees. Now, as we said before, all of these systems are not connected, so they have to export reports in order to share with other employees. And that's really the only common way that they can communicate data back and forth. So to recap, Jeff's company uses ADP, Salesforce, SurveyMonkey, Basecamp, QuickBooks, Microsoft Outlook, and Microsoft Excel to run their company. That's 7 systems to manage one company, which for the most part works in the same building every day, but are divided by software. Everyone does their job and it works, but it's clumsy because there's no connectivity outside of their email service, Microsoft Outlook. So let's get a visual representation on how the company's software environment looks today. As stated, Jeff's company uses 7 systems, which we can see here represented by their logos. Each software includes unique functionality from the others and represents a division where work needs to be completed. All the software feeds into Excel to export reports, which can then be shared using their email service, Microsoft Outlook. That's Jeff's software system outside of an ERP and how it operates today. So now let's look at Jeff's company inside the world of an ERP by using an ERP like Striven. And by using an ERP like Striven, all of Jeff's company functions much like it does in real life, under one roof. Projects, tasks, orders, invoices, and all their HR needs are all connected inside of the system. Everything that was once divided among software can all be generated and managed without ever signing out of the ERP. Reports don't need to be exported in order to communicate, as connectivity with divisions already exists. However, exporting functions are available inside as well. While connecting his divisions, Jeff has not only substituted all of his company's software needs with one ERP solution, but he has also cut a lot of his software costs in doing so. Now you may be thinking, okay, that sounds great, but words are cheap, am I right? Well, let's step into the world of an ERP to see how an ERP looks. Let's jump in and explore how these entities are all connected by looking at Striven. So this is an ERP. This is what it looks like. Now you'll notice that all of these top tabs hold different functionality and can represent all of Jeff's separate divisions. And we can click into each one to explore the functionality that's found within. For instance, the Company tab holds your goals, your document management, company and fleet assets, and even surveying. Your Employees tab holds things like recruiting, shift management, time off, and time tracking. Your Customers tab houses customer management tools, including multi-touch campaigns, leads, opportunities, and orders. And then you have your financials like invoices, credit memos, sales receipts, and even a full collections workflow. Your Vendors tab houses all your purchasing needs, including a multi-touch campaign for your vendors, your purchase orders, and then financials like paying bills, creating bills, and receiving items. Your Accounting tab includes all your accounting needs for things ranging from chart of accounts to some banking features like reconciliations and deposits to inventory and item management and even a sales tax workflow. The Projects tab holds a robust project management solution which allows users to create and manage projects and milestones. The Task tab includes all your service management needs, including the task list, dispatch, and workload management. And then finally, the Reports tab includes all the reports from financial reports to timesheet reports. And there's also a report builder which allows you to create more comprehensive reports to fit your needs. So just by going through the top tabs, we can already see the connectivity that exists with an ERP solution like Striven. Now let's go deeper and talk about Jeff's company again. Jeff's company, like many others, starts with a sales order, meaning that a customer comes in and orders goods or services, which hopefully they'll purchase with an invoice. To get to a sales order, we'll click the Customers tab, and then underneath the Sales section, we'll click Orders. And this will take us to the sales orders list. Let's look at the details inside of a sales order and what can be managed here by clicking the order number 8. So just by clicking this hyperlink, this will populate the order information for us to see. And already, just by looking at this top section, we can see a whole lot of information, but we can also see connectivity already. And we can see that by these two little statuses up here. One is approved, which is the status of the order, and over here is invoiced, which tells me that the order has been invoiced and the customer now needs to pay the invoice. So that's representing your CRM connecting to your accounting all in one screen. Now as I go down, I can see the customer information, such as the bill to and ship to, and then I can see the items that they ordered, the price I'm selling them for, and how much of the items they've ordered as well. Now, apart from the invoiced status bar over here, we also have these top tabs which also represent connectivity within the order. I have things like the info, which is the screen that I'm on now. Collaboration houses all your document management for the specific order. And you can also see that I can connect surveys, quizzes, assessments, or forms. So if I need to send them feedback, they'll be stored within these each individual tabs. My assignments is who's assigned to the order. But then I have tasks. So this is my dedicated labor force completing work for the order. And then I have my POs, which is what I'm ordering from my vendors. So just by going through the top tabs, we can see even more connectivity. Now, just like clicking on the order's name, I can click on the purchase order's name right over here, and this will populate the purchase order information. And just like that, I'm inside of a purchase order with 2 clicks from the sales order information. Here I can see the vendor I'm ordering the goods or services from, the vendor contact who I'll be dealing with, and then what I'm ordering from them and how much and the cost that I'm being charged for those goods or services. Now, the great thing about an ERP like Striven is that we can jump back to something very, very easily. So if I go back here and I want to go back to the order, I can click this Related To tab right up here. When I click that, I can see two entities that are related to this purchase order. One is the order, which is the sales order, so I'll open that in a new tab for us. And the other is a bill, and the bill is the accounts payable, the accounting that's driving what I have to pay my vendor. So if I click into the bill, I now have what I have to pay the vendor for the purchase order for the goods or services that I've purchased using that purchase order. I can see the purchase order status right here, and these are all clickable as well. So if I click one of these, it's going to open up the purchase order so I can see that information from the bill. So you can really see how easy it is with the connectivity to go to and from different entities, which outside of an ERP would have taken a lot more effort. Let's use the example of Jeff's company once again. If I'm a salesman working in Salesforce and I need to see the bill that was created in QuickBooks, I don't have access to that software, so I would have to connect with my accountant to print off the bill details to hand to me or export them so I can see that. Whereas within here, I can get to the bill with just a matter of 4 or 5 clicks. Now if we go back to the order, again we can do that with the Related To tab. Let's go into the service management section of the order. So this is our tasks, what people are working on to facilitate the order. And let's click on one of these tasks and see the details within each. So here I can see the task name, but I can also see the status. So I can see this open, the start date and due date. The budget is how many hours should be worked on this task. But down here I can see the customer, the location, the sales order, but also the project and milestone that this task is related to. And that would represent the project manager and the labor force working in Basecamp outside of an ERP, whereas here it's all connected in the same system. Now the cool thing about tasks within an ERP like Striven is that you have this little clock feature right up here. And this would represent your employees submitting time for what they worked on a particular task. So if I click the arrow, this would represent my HR in terms of tracking what my employees are working and then having to pay them for the work or billing them to a customer in order. So once I click that time, once I click that clock, you'll see that a lot of things are pre-populated for me. It tracks the employee name, the date in which I'm submitting the time, the customer, order, and task all come over with the time entry as well. So all I really have to do is change my hours that I worked. So I can put I worked 6 hours. I can enter any notes for what I completed during that time. And if I want to bill it, I can choose billable right here, and I can bill that time to the customer and the order that's related down here. Now if I don't want to bill it, I can simply uncheck it, and then I can choose Save and Close, and that's going to take me to a timesheet. And the timesheet represents what I'm doing in a particular week. So you'll notice that down here I can choose a completely different customer, order, and task for each individual time entry on the timesheet, and then submit it for my weekly time that I worked. So now if I want to go back, it's just as simple as choosing my other tab, and I'm right back in to the task. Now, just like populating a time entry with this little button, if I come down here to the project field, I can hover over and there's a little arrow down here. And this will allow me to view the project. So right from a task, still within the sales order, I can not only view the task information, but I can also view the project. And here I can see things in the project, for instance, the budgets on each task, but also the overall project budget right up here. I can see the milestone, how many tasks and budgets are in the individual milestones. I can see the labels, which will give me an overview of what needs to be done with the task. I can scroll down and see all the individual milestones, and if I want to, I can just click into a task, and I can see all the same information that we saw before in the orders task list. Now, another cool feature about the project management within an ERP like Striven is that if I click this little arrow over here, I can go into different views. For instance, I can go into a project board, and if I open this up to all tasks, I can see tasks that I still need to do, what's in progress, what still needs to be reviewed, but also what is completed already. And this will allow me to switch to individual milestones. It will allow me to see just things that are assigned to me. So this is a really helpful view for project managers to go in and see the progress and see what still needs to be done, what's been completed, and really how far off or on target the project is. And finally, the other view is the Gantt chart. So again, if I click this arrow, I can click Gantt chart from the drop down, and this will allow me to see the individual milestones, but also the tasks in a more visual representation to see their due dates. I can even move a milestone or a task due date or start date, and even shorten the start date as well. So this is a very helpful visual representation of the project as well. Now also within the project, there's these left-hand tabs which will show you the project info, such as who the customer is, the contact that I'm working with, but I also have these little 3 dots which are an actions menu. And this will allow me to jump back into the order. I can assign an order right from here. I can create an order right from here. I can review the project as a project manager. But if I click View Orders, this is going to bring me to my sales orders list related to the individual project. And here I can just jump back in to go right back to the sales order. And if I do that, we can go right back to where we started from and see a cycle. And we've just gone through all of Jeff's separate divisions without ever leaving the software, and really minimal clicking and time to do so. Outside of an ERP, that would have been a lot more clumsy and cumbersome to essentially complete and see the same information that we did. Now let's merge this all into one report. I want to show you one report that will demonstrate your HR, your CRM, project management, and accounting all inside of one report. And that is the project profitability report. So if I go to the reports, I have the project section, and I can click profitability. Now you'll see why I'm going to demonstrate this report very soon, as soon as I click the search button. So right here you can see a lot of information in terms of my projects, but this represents all your connectivity inside of one report. You have the project name and the customer, but you also have your order total, which are your sales orders, your CRM, your PO total, so what you're purchasing from your vendors. Your revenue represents the invoices that have been generated, so that's your accounting. You have your labor, so how many time entries, what are employees working, and that's your HR. You have your expenses, which are your bills that are tied into your purchase order, so that's also your accounting, but on the accounts payable side. Your total cost is your labor plus expense, and then you have your profit, which again is your accounting. So we can see a whole lot of interconnectivity with this single report. Now I'd like to revert back to the world outside of an ERP, and I'd like for you to think of how this report would be generated without an ERP. How clumsy and cumbersome would this be to create the report? Now if we go back to Jeff's company, CRM would need to be exported for all the order totals. You would need to export your invoices and your bills, your labor from ADP, and then you would need to merge all those numbers into a conglomerate spreadsheet and do a sum formula and all kinds of calculations just to create your profit for the project, all while losing time and resources to do so, where in an ERP like Striven, it all happens in the background, it loads in real time, and there's no manual calculation. The numbers are right there for you to see and manage, and it not only saves you a lot of time, but also, by cutting all those software costs, it saves you a lot of money as well. So in conclusion, how does an ERP save your business time and money? Well, let's take Jeff as an example one more time. If Jeff switched to an ERP, he would not only save his business time, as we saw in our demonstration inside of Striven, how seamless and easy it was to get to and from individual entities that were once siloed and unconnected, but it would also cut a lot of the recurring subscriptions that he has for all 7 of his software systems into one comprehensive bill for an ERP, which not only saves his business time but also money, and also allows information sharing across divisions to promote collaboration to facilitate his daily processes. So that's all for today's webinar. If you'd like to learn more about Striven and how it can save your business both time and money, please visit our website, www.striven.com, which is located on the bottom of this slide. Once again, thank you for joining us, and I hope you have a great day.